Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the first in our Newcombe Scholar Series this fall, Kickstarting Your Career Search, which is a partnership between the Center for Women and Gender Equity and the Twardarski, I can never say that right, Amanda will correct me, Career Development Center here at Westchester University. I'm Lindsay Mosvick. I'm the Associate Director at the Center for Women and Gender Equity, and I'm the one who administers our wonderful Newcombe Scholarship Program, which is designed for our folks who are 25 or older, who have caregiving or parenting or other life responsibilities. And we asked our scholars this year, what are you interested in? And folks said, we're about to graduate and we want to learn more about what comes next. And how we can get that moving. So I'm going to ask right now Amanda to introduce herself, and we'll start to get things started shortly.
Great, thanks, Lindsay. So my name's Amanda Machonis. I'm one of the assistant directors at the Career Development Center. So I do a lot of one-on-one career counseling with students and also with alum. So in case you didn't know, our office does continue to work with alumni. So even after you graduate, you can keep your Handshake account activated, which I'll talk about in a moment, and you can continue to schedule with us. I also do a lot of presenting like this, whether it's to specific groups or classrooms. So you may see me in other capacities around campus. Twee, do you want to introduce yourself too?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Twee Yancey. I'm the coordinator of recruitment with CRESS, Educational and Behavioral Health Services. We're a local nonprofit focusing on hiring individuals to work in southeastern Pennsylvania, working in the classroom settings with children with disabilities. I am a Westchester alumni, and I mean, I can't tell you enough how exciting it is, and you know, just so proud and honored to be invited to participate in today's session. You know, I was just sharing with Lindsay and Amanda how much the Career Development Center has helped me when I was a fellow Westchester student. I was a full-time working student, and a lot of the resources and skills that I've learned from the Career Development Center has helped me exponentially. I mean, I've been in the recruitment and HR field for the last almost 16 years now. So really happy to be here today and just share some general tips with you and just be a resource accessible to you beyond today's session. So thank you for having me.
I think we're kind of ready to get started. Okay, great. Now recording is back on here. So I am going to give you a little overview of the Career Development Center services. So let me share my screen here. All right. So if you're on the Philadelphia campus, our services are accessible. We have a real extensive website and other things that I'm going to talk about. And we are continuing to do appointments by phone or Zoom also. So it's a little bit easier to connect with us these days. I do like to talk a little bit about kind of big picture, what we do here in the Career Development Center. So that first one that we just kind of addressed. So it truly is never too early or too late. Career development is a lifelong process, right? And it's pretty rare these days for folks to stay in one single career path the entire time that they're working. So that's why one big reason why we work with alumni. So we see students who are recent graduates, but then we see folks 5, 10, 15, 20 plus years into their career, maybe looking to make a change, coming back for more education, things like that. And that ties into that second one there. The better you know yourself, so likes, dislikes, you know, personality, skill set, all those things are going to help you figure out and narrow down your options, because no matter what your major is, that doesn't dictate what you're going to do after you graduate. There are many different paths for every major out there. And then lastly, we do also emphasize that, you know, sometimes people get intimidated by the concept of career development, right? And it's tough to even contact us because people think, oh my gosh, I have to be like overly formal. I have to have everything figured out. And that is completely not the case. We try to be very approachable. We try to be casual. We realize that everybody's coming at this from a different point, from a different lens. So we really do, get to know every individual and, point you towards resources that are appropriate. So there's no like one size fits all approach. All right. So more specifically about how we help. So down the center column there, those are the main topics that folks reach out to us about. So resumes. Oh, sorry. Was someone jumping in? No. Okay. I heard like an echo. So resumes, cover letters, that's probably the number one reason why folks come to us, or they want that reviewed. So that's a big one. Interview preparation. So that would also include mock interviewing. So if you ever want to practice, no matter what kind of interview you have coming up, you can request that with us, and we're happy to tailor questions and give you feedback with that. And then we also do have some career assessments. So again, if you're looking into doing more of that exploration, that self-exploration piece, we can guide you through that. And we kind of are hybrid right now. We are doing in-person appointments if you prefer that. We do have our drop-in hours as well that are in person, but plenty of things that are online or via Zoom as well. And then I'm going to spend a few minutes here talking about Handshake. So I don't know if either one of you have been on your account, but there's the link to it, and there's a lot of functionality there. We often refer to it in addition to our website kind of as almost a one-stop shop for folks who are looking for any kind of position, because there are on-campus jobs posted on there, as well as part-time internships, full-time jobs, all those kinds of things. So I'm actually going to navigate into a profile to give you a better view of that. Oh, of course it kicks me out. It does that randomly. I'm not really sure why. So it is a single sign-on. You just saw me log back in there. So it's just your Westchester email and password, so you don't have to remember anything additional. In order to schedule with us, you can click right here on Career Center and then Appointments. And then once you get to this screen here, you'll pick, why you're coming in. So say you want to do some career exploration. So our next available appointments would come up, and you can, if you want to, you can choose based on who the counselor is, or the time that's available. And then on the next page here, you'll tell us, okay, how do you want to meet? You'll give us your preference there, and then what specifically we can help you with. And then once we approve that, you get that on your end, you get the Zoom information if that's applicable. You do have a profile also here on Handshake. So if you navigate to that, that is where you can get your resume reviewed. So you don't have to really make any contact with us. You don't have to schedule an appointment or necessarily come for a drop-in. You can literally upload your resume here. It prompts you right at the top. And every time that you do that, it comes to our attention. We review it and give you feedback within 2 days. So you'll get a message, an email from us saying, okay, here's what you can do to maybe strengthen your document a little bit, and you can go from there. I suggest if you're looking for positions that you make your profile, I forget if the setting, public, so that employers can see this information here, because you can really specify what kind of positions you're looking for. And then speaking of that, Handshake is also a job board, and it is national. So there's lots of filters here that you can put in location-wise and what exactly you're looking for. I always like to show folks just on campus what's going on right now. It's nice. Handshake also has a feature now where when people post, they can, if they're willing to answer questions about a position, then they can post their contact information. You can send a message, which is really great. So, this is someone who's on campus, but there are also employers who do that off campus. You can apply right through Handshake. You can see this big red button here. So you would need your resume on here, and this position's also asking for a cover letter. and then example of work, social media work. So sometimes it's just resume, sometimes it's additional, but you can submit it oftentimes right through Handshake. And then the last thing that I want to show you on Handshake is the events tab. So I know one of you mentioned you're a senior. So in January, our office is having a senior success series with alumni relations, and it's during winter break. So it's basically like a week of virtual events, really getting you prepared for graduation and after graduation. So that's something that's coming up. You can also, so we don't have any career fairs yet this semester, but next semester in February we will, so you can keep your eye on these things. We do have an employer coming to campus soon, but a lot of the on-campus recruiting is finished for the semester, I should say. So that, I know, was a lot of information in a short period of time. Do any of you have any questions specifically with Handshake? Okay, well then we'll continue on. So we're going to show you, oops, hold on, something came in the chat. Okay, oh, you're welcome. So we're going to continue on. Handshake was the first platform. And then I'm going to turn it over to Twee, and she's going to talk to you about LinkedIn. So let me stop my share. So yeah, take it away.
Okay, thanks, Amanda. So I have to say, I mean, I just recently shared this with Lindsay and Amanda. I mean, my LinkedIn page was created nearly 16 years ago when I first entered the Twardowski Career Development Center. And, you know, it's taken me that long to build it up. And I say that just because it's one of those things like, you know, LinkedIn is kind of like any social media type of platform. I mean, when you get it started, it's not expected to be something that's perfect, but it is something that I would encourage you, you know, as a hiring recruiter, that, you know, you do want to keep your skills and education and employment relevant, because LinkedIn is just another platform that allows you to build your brand out to many prospective employers. You know, LinkedIn is another really great tool for you to research a company and some of the employees that might be within the area. And it's a really great way, and I'll share my screen here in a moment so you can see my profile, where you can really, on top of building your brand, you'll start building your profile to add in recommendations from colleagues and supervisors. And it's a really great opportunity for a hiring manager to, you know, kind of get like a follow-up preview of who you are as a person, and, you know, allows you that opportunity to further demonstrate your knowledge, your network, and just really how serious you are in obtaining that job. So anywho, I'm going to share some links after this as well, you know, about LinkedIn that might be nice resources for you. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen just so I can show you some basics of, you know, how things started for me way back when, when I was in Westchester. So this is just me here on the LinkedIn home landing page. So, you know, what I would strongly recommend you do is, again, just kind of go for some basics. So if you go over here to like that, you'll see all the top headers here. There's the home page. There's your network, where you can kind of get any updates on how many people you're connected with, and you know, any groups and people you follow. And, you know, LinkedIn is just an endless pool of just making connections, because the more people you know, I mean, it truly is I believe, a world of 6 degrees of separation, that you never know who is going to help connect you to the next opportunity that you may not have expected. You know, for me as an employer, I can post jobs here, but also I can have job alerts set up. So I'll show you in a moment when we get to settings how you can set up job alerts. The suggested job searches, this is just some keywords that were pulled from my LinkedIn profile. So, I mean, LinkedIn is huge as a big job board. So you can see, like, I mean, I've been happily with my organization, Crest, for the last 8.5 years. I truly don't see myself going anywhere. I've got awesome leadership and coworkers here. But you can see, you know, should I ever have to decide I want to explore some other opportunities, I mean, there's jobs here at my fingertips that I can quickly apply to. So you can set yourself up for alerts like this just the same. It also gives you, some salary breakdown, some skills assessments that you can take for yourself to kind of help you hone in on what areas may work best for you. And for me as an employer, I can post jobs here. So a lot of what you may see other employers do, they'll post jobs where you can, an example, if I click into senior recruiter, if I have my resume uploaded into LinkedIn, I can quickly apply for that position should I choose to do so. And it takes you right to the company's landing page. So, anywho, just to kind of show you some basics, when you log in, here's my public profile. So here's my, organizational banner. My colleagues and I, as recruiters, we're regularly recruiting out in the community. So, I wanted, a banner to kind of give the essence of who we are as Crest as an organization. So, we're regularly out in the community promoting positions to work with children with special needs. A clear, profile picture and my title right here. But when you go down a little bit further, you definitely want to give a good summary about yourself with who you are and what you do. Now, for me, I use LinkedIn primarily as a networking resource to build on prospective candidates I may try to recruit one day, or I recruit in the education and behavioral health field. So, I often reach out to many school district administrators for assistance and resources. So those are the reasons, few of the reasons I use LinkedIn on a regular basis. And just for me working in the HR field, when you're on your home landing page, there's always some nice articles of people within your network who may share, a lot of motivational tips or, some videos and such. But, really LinkedIn is just that. Here's pretty much, without me uploading my resume, is an essence of where my experience lie, my work history, my education. So, I could very easily connect with other fellow Westchester folks. I chose to include my degree program here in criminal justice, just so I can stay connected with some of my other, cohorts at that time, as well as my professors. So that might be something you want to think about as well, especially down the line if you have not had a long professional work history yet, but you're looking to have a good character-based professional reference. You may want to talk to your current professors about opportunities like that. So this is a really great way to stay connected with your instructors. One of the big ways to build your brand is when you create your profile is adding your skills and getting endorsements from past colleagues or past supervisors. So, as you're building your profile, you can add a new skill, and really, like LinkedIn kind of just does it for you. So, I could put coaching because I've trained other colleagues for the last 16 some years. I do career counseling on a regular basis with applicants and in just settings just as this: job coaching, hiring, team building, decision making, sourcing is a big one for us recruiters, job posting, client services. The list can go on, but really when you build your profile, like you start adding in your current and previous work history, LinkedIn just does the job for you. And you can search for other skills as well. And you could type in anything, let's say, like leadership, team leadership, because I run a team of 7 other recruiters. So that would be something else to add. And I would simply save it. And then guess what happens? Then if you ever go to your homepage and within your network, it's going to show inevitably anybody in your network that, hey, Twee Yancey added these additional skills, and your colleagues would receive those same alerts and they can help endorse you. And those are the things that are really important because like after an interview, LinkedIn really is that direct connect to who you are as a person and validate your skills. And you can see here under going back to skills and endorsements, in recruiting, I've had 85 colleagues in the past who've endorsed me for that. So they're saying, hey, I know, recruiting, staffing services, HR. I mean, the list goes on. So this gives your prospective employer, a really good handle of, some other skills that leads into, your industry knowledge. Additionally, your recommendations. I mean, that this is kind of your references already done and tightly in a nice package where, after an interview, you can drive that hiring manager to your LinkedIn page and they can see that, here in mine, I have, 13 recommendations and I've given out 8. But then, your prospective hiring manager could see, hey, like Carrie White, it was an HR recruiter with Twee at the same company. This is a great, way to attest to your character and who you are as a professional. And even if it starts as simply as, asking, others in your cohort to help provide you a professional reference if you worked on a project together. Again, current or past supervisors, you definitely want to have your recommendations kind of beefed up because that would certainly help you stand out above other candidates who are coming into a same position that you may be interested in. And then you can also, going down here to the bottom of your profile, you can follow other companies as well and then receive alerts from them. All of your alerts will come here into your homepage. So these are just kind of nice motivational things. But just the basics of your profile that I'll just kind of shift here real quickly to your settings. Some of the things that I would recommend you do is, go into your settings and privacy, because then you, as far as networking goes, you want to take a look at your visibility, how you have that set up, and really make sure you do beef up your public profile. So going right in here, it just shows you if somebody were to search me on Google, this is the way it's going to look. So you want to, make sure everything is, nice and professional. Your links are all set up here, and see, recommendations are so important because if somebody Googled me, my recommendations pop up right here to the top. So, so those are kind of nice things to see. Also, under your visibility being huge, make sure, recruiters can find you if you're using LinkedIn as a, as a job board. Also under communications, you can set up this way, just like any social media account. You can set up, if you want to receive notifications of new contacts via your email, or if you download the app, you can get it on your app all day as well. But you can set up the range of who can see you and what type of alerts you receive. For me, I have to say, I'm pretty traditional where, I enjoy networking in person. So sometimes some of the cyber stuff, I get a little, we always want to protect our identity and our information, but, LinkedIn does do a really great job with that. So you can manage all of these things here under data privacy. So, the list is endless, and it's pretty, it's pretty user friendly that you can update as you need to. But I'm going back here to LinkedIn basics, because the most important thing is just really making sure that your profile is one of your information, that it's just kind of like your resume. It speaks to who you are, your experience. And furthermore, the biggest thing is kind of beefing up and adding skills and endorsements, and adding some recommendations, because that's just, post interview, just a really great way that, for folks in the recruitment and HR seat, after we meet, actually even before we meet someone, we're jumping in the LinkedIn page just to kind of see, what their work history looks like. Does it align to their resume and application information? And, who are we going to schedule first for an interview? Someone who's got, good, backings from other working professionals. So, I guess, Amanda or Lindsay, I'm just going to ask you, is there anything else that you see that I should cover here on the LinkedIn page? Are we looking pretty good there?
No, nothing additional, but I do want to reiterate. So you said a couple of times, like LinkedIn almost does the job for you in a way. It's very user friendly. So even if you wouldn't mind scrolling down to your recommendations, you can literally request a recommendation right there. It says ask for a
Oh, yes.
recommendation.
Thank you. Yeah.
You can literally send a message, craft it in LinkedIn. Yeah, so you type who you want to ask, and you do have to be connected to the person. And then it's going to ask for your relationship with them, position at the time. So it really does, you know, make it fairly easy for you to gain these things, because you might be thinking, okay, well, I have to create my profile first, and then, oh my gosh, ask for recommendations. But it's really, it's not, you know, super time consuming or anything like that.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And here that it's a nice feature that LinkedIn did add, like you were students together, you know, so if you're asking like a professor or, you know, someone as you're starting up your career, it gives you so many options where people can help validate your character and your work ethic and everything. Also the positions at the time. So if you were a student, make sure you do add in your profile that you were a student at Westchester University. You know, so right here, and then you can just go on. So thank you, Amanda. That is a super important thing that I missed there, is you can easily ask for a recommendation. So thank you. Okay, I'll stop screen. Actually, does anyone have any questions at the moment with anything regarding LinkedIn before I stop my screen share? Okay, cool. All right, I'll put my contact information in the chat box as well. So I always welcome, you know, any additional follow-up questions after the session today.
Great, yeah, that's good to know that you're open to connecting with folks. So am I on LinkedIn. Oftentimes, you know, former students that I've worked with will connect, and LinkedIn too it's great because you can kind of see like, okay, someone might be a second degree connection for you. So that means someone that you know knows that person. So it's just a really nice way of building up your network. Okay, so the final topic of discussion today, the final platform is called Ram Nation. So I do want to just acknowledge something before I continue with that, and that's we don't want to overwhelm you, right? So don't feel like you have to run out and create, like do all these things right now, right? The LinkedIn is really nice when you get to the point where you're job searching for all the reasons that we talked about. Handshake is one that a lot of it is already built for you as a student. So that is one, like if you're just looking to get started with engaging with your career development, that's a good place to start. But yeah, you do what works for yourself. So, you know, you've got plenty going on. So don't feel like you have to, you know, get all this done right away. Really take your time with it. And we're happy to in the Career Center, if oftentimes we'll get folks asking questions about LinkedIn, like they'll come to an appointment, they'll say, hey, could you look at this? Do you have any suggestions on how to make it stronger? Or hey, how do I craft my about section, or whatever the case may be. So we're happy to support you with that as well. And I think, oh great, yeah, Twee just posted some resources in there, including her email address. So thank you for that. Okay, so switching to Ram Nation here. So let me go back to my share. So I just have one slide about it, and then I'll do the same thing that I did with Handshake, is that I'll go into the platform and kind of give you a little tour of it and talk about how to make use of it. So the reason I put this one last is Ram Nation is very specific to Westchester University. So LinkedIn is, you know, it's national. Anybody can use that platform. So it's, you know, it's pretty big. We in the Career Center in years past, we got so many questions about like, hey, do you know someone in this field? Could you connect me to someone here, right? And up until a few years ago, we didn't have a source to do that, but now we do, and it's called Ram Nation. So the important thing to remember on this platform, it is just for WCU students and alum, and the alumni who are on here, they've volunteered. They want to be on here. They're like Twee. They want to connect with current students and talk to you about their career. They're happy to answer questions about their own path. So remember that. Don't feel like you're like bothering somebody, but reaching out. That's why this platform is here for sure. So yeah, it is alumni to student. And then once you're an alum, you can reach out to other alum as well. And then just here's some numbers. It has really grown quite a lot in the last few years. So there's almost 1,000 alumni users. And I thought this was interesting too. The highest represented areas are education and nonprofit of our alum. So there are plenty of folks for you to connect with. Over here on the right, these are some of the things that you could potentially arrange or build through Ram Nation. So some of the things, you know, that we do offer in our office, like mock interviewing, but so the informational interview, that would just basically be having a conversation with a professional about career development. They're in the field already, so they can answer your really industry specific questions, like it says lower on the list there, and you know, give you real specific advice. We can support you in a lot of ways in the Career Center, but we don't know everything about everything, right? So if you can find someone who is really doing a job that you want to do, or you know, something similar like that, then that's fantastic, and that's what we want to enable here at Ram Nation. Okay, so there is the landing page here. It's ramnation.wcupa.edu. And very similarly to Handshake, it is single sign-on. So you just sign in with your credentials. There is a little bit of information here, pretty much what I just went over with you all, just about, you know, what it is. So you would either hit join or sign in with your ID. So if you are joining Ram Nation as an alum, so after graduation, then I would just recommend that you sign up with your email. You can sign up with a personal email then. So once you are logged in here, the very first time, it is going to prompt you basically to create your profile. And I do want to say, I'm going to go in here. It gives you, I think it's under preferences. Yeah, so it has what's called a little matching quiz. So it does take you through this when you do your profile. So it's just going to ask a few basic questions. So if you're interested geographically, you can, I think you do have to put one city in here at least, but you can add more than one. And then industry, so there's a ton of them. So definitely scroll through here and you can mark more than one of where your industry interest lies, and that will again help you kind of find matches on the homepage. And then lastly, what are you interested in receiving help on? Because on the flip side, like it's also going to ask you, ask the alumni mentors what they're willing to help with. So if you want to do like a job shadow with someone, then it makes it really easy to find someone who is open to that. So it saves all your preferences there. And like I said, it does have you create the profile. So there's nothing, you can really choose how much you fill out here, especially as a student. You might not have like a really robust profile because you're the one kind of looking for a little bit of mentorship here. I will say it's usually when I click on the alum here, they really do have a lot of information about themselves, which is super helpful. So definitely, I'll show you in a moment, check out other people's profiles. When you register, it is going to ask you for your educational background. You can connect your LinkedIn if you'd like to. I don't have it currently, but you could. Here's, like I said, what I as a mentor could help with. And then it does ask some identity questions. So you can connect with folks on that basis as well. And there is like prefer not to answer on all of these as well. So you certainly don't have to share this information. And this is great too. What activities were you involved in? Because there's actually some groups on here on Ram Nation that you could connect with folks in. So we're just looking at making connections, facilitating this through lots of different means, basically. But that is your profile. I'm going to navigate back to the home screen. So like I mentioned, there are some groups here, some of them more active than others. So we co-run this platform with the alumni office. So the more active alumni chapters, they have their groups here. So there's discussion if you click on any of them. I think for some of them, like this one that says private, I think you just have to request to join it and then someone will approve you for that. But as you can see, there's groups on campus, there's groups just for graduate students, HR, geographical, Lehigh Valley. I think there's a Chester County one too. So you can always look here if you want to kind of post a general question, you want to crowdsource something, this is a good place for it. And then the reason that most students will sign up for Ram Nation is right here, this explore the community piece. So you can see based on the matching quiz and my profile, it's just going to say, hey, here, we'll start you off. Here's some people who work in Westchester. Here are some people willing to help with mock interview, etc. So right off the bat, it just gives you some suggestions, but you can be a lot more specific. So you can search by any number of things here. Sometimes it's a nice thing to search by major, because sometimes folks end up in, like we said earlier, wildly different careers, or they've had experience in lots of different fields. So you can search by that, or you can search by industry experience. I know we had one person at least who said they were social work, so we'll put social services. So it gives me 61 matches here. And what you can do, you can see the person's current job title here. So some people have like a summary of who they are. This person just literally has his title, bioethicist. There are some, like all of us in the Career Center have profiles here. You can see Chantal is in the alumni office. So there are some on-campus folks. Wendy Myers, she works in social work on campus. So there are some professors, some staff members on here. So say you find one that you're interested in. If you click on their profile. So here's one that's kind of like mine, like it's just filled out very generally. You can see that while this person was here, studied psychology, went on to get a master's in social work, and currently works as a therapist. So if you're interested, let me see if I can find one that might be a little more detailed. Oh, here's a professor. Oh, it looks like he doesn't have too much filled out. Let me click Beth, I know her. Okay, so she's a program coordinator here on campus. So she has a little bit of information about that and then what she can help with. So hers is filled out a little bit more. There are definitely profiles out there with even more information than this. So if you're interested in connecting with Beth, you would just hit this button right here. So it brings you, this is nice too, because it puts the profile on the side. So you don't have to like be clicking back and forth and trying to remember what her title is and things like that. And here's where you'd start your message. What's really great additionally about Ram Nation is there are some prompts. So if you're sitting there thinking, I am not sure how to start this conversation, or exactly what you're looking for, then start with one of these. So it just says, hey, I was browsing and your profile came up. You can certainly go in here and you can change this. It's just very generally saying, hey, I'd love to hear about how you got into your career. You can change that to the person's job title. So it really does give you a nice way in. And you don't have to use these templates. There's one here just for like wanting to expand their network. So that may mean that you just want to make the connection here, or may or may not mean you want to continue the conversation. And I've been using the term mentoring a little bit. And this is a site that's really, we call it flash mentoring. So it's having a conversation with someone through messaging. Maybe you set up a meeting, whether it's Zoom or in person, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a really long relationship, right? It doesn't have to be something where you keep in touch with the person. It could develop into that, but there's just flexibility with how you maintain contacts with folks here. So you would type that, you would send it. It does also give you the option to request a meeting, but I generally advise make the connection with the person first, see if they're willing to talk with you, and then you can kind of go from there. I suggest if you're going to use this platform as well, reach out to multiple people because you don't know, maybe someone's not monitoring their email real closely, maybe they miss a message. So you just want to increase your odds of folks getting back to you. And I think since there are so many alum on here now, there's so many different options here. You can probably find folks, at least a couple of folks with similar job titles to what you're looking for, and explore other possibilities. Cool. You can also bookmark people. You can see this little symbol right here. So if you're like, okay, I don't have time to send a message now, but I want to come back to this person, you can bookmark them, and then it just saves it right here. Yeah, I've bookmarked some people in the past as well. Oh, here we go. I found a profile that's a little bit more extensive here. So here's this person's about section, and she has some things describing her work. So that's kind of what a more developed profile looks like on Ram Nation. All right, so I'll just go back to the home screen here in case anybody has any questions with this particular platform. I'll pause.
Amanda, I actually have a question about this, and this is so neat because I wasn't familiar with this resource either. But I know that one of the common questions that we get from our Newcombe scholars are about folks who might be balancing family and career. And so I didn't know if there's a way for folks to indicate, you know, that they're a caregiver or parent on this site, or if you have any thoughts about how to include that in a conversation if someone was curious about it.
Yeah, you bring up a great point. I think we can certainly explore, so we can control like those demographic questions that we're asking. So that might be one that we should consider pushing out to people. So just like we said, another way of connecting. As far as how to approach that, I think once you make that initial connection, you get a response from somebody, then I mean that really opens up the conversation. So it's to your comfort. It's not uncommon just to talk generally about you know, managing your time. Like how do you navigate a full-time job search? How much time do I dedicate? And then, you know, as the conversation develops, if you want to share more about yourself, say, hey, I have these responsibilities. Do you have recommendations for how I handle things? I think that you'll find the vast majority of people, especially on here on Ram Nation, are really open to having those conversations. Any other questions? We did pretty good on the timing in case anybody has like a 1 o'clock meeting or anything. So yeah, questions, they wouldn't have to just be about Ram Nation. Any overarching questions before we close today? And Twee or Lindsay, anything to add?
I mean, just wanted to, you know, kind of restate just, you know, the importance of using, I mean, again, just as a fellow Westchester alum who really utilized deeply the resources at Career Development Center. As you started off, Amanda, like, I mean, for me, I use Career Development Center for my resume writing and a lot for the interview prep, which is huge because I mean, no one can ever be an expert of, you know, being interviewed, and, you know, it's always nerve wracking to have anticipate what type of questions are going to be asked of you. So, you know, certainly extra eyes on resumes and cover letters are ultra helpful, as well as, you know, practicing interview skills as much as possible. You know, those things are critical. So, and I'd say always just keep an open mind about opportunities and, you know, use these tools that are at your fingertips for networking, because, you know, you truly never know what opportunity is going to be there waiting for you. I mean, here I was, a criminal justice major 16 some years ago, and I'm in HR recruitment now because, you know, I used LinkedIn. I used, you know, I took advantage of networking events that were on campus and off campus. So, you know, those are things that I just would, you know, strongly encourage you to do is, you know, utilize your resources that are available to you and just keep help, you know, every step builds upon something better. So that's just my pitch.
Yeah, and I just want to express my gratitude to you, Twee, and to you, Amanda, for all that you've shared today, because I think these are critical resources that folks don't always have a chance to interact with or know more about, especially LinkedIn. I feel like I learned a lot too. I need to update my profile. So thank you for that inspiration today.
And it's all tied together, right? So you know, as a job seeker, you're going to be really up on like your resume is going to be up to date and things like that. But then sometimes when you progress in your career and you're not job searching anymore, it is still important to keep things updated. I always recommend to folks to like keep a master copy of your resume so that it's real easy to, if you need to like craft it for a specific position, you can. So just a general piece of advice there to wrap up.
Well, I'm going to share my screen quickly. So for folks who participated today, there's a quick QR code. It's a very, very brief survey about today, including folks who might be watching the recording later. We'd appreciate it if you could take just a brief survey about our time together today. But again, thank you to everyone who came and joined us, and Amanda and Thuy. We really, really appreciate your knowledge and expertise. The whole Westchester community benefits from you all. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, stop recording now.